What's good, everybody? It's cjbeatz. We're back at it again today. Today we're going to make a Logic / Eminem type beat in Logic Pro X with the help of Lethal right after this. Thanks for joining, guys. So shout out to Lander. They reached out to me and asked me if I would do a video on their product called Lethal. And Lander is now offering Lethal for $9.99 a month on a cancel anytime payment system. This is really great for, people that are just starting out with their music careers and can't shell out $300 right off the bat. So definitely a great investment for starters. And if you're unfamiliar with Lander, you should definitely go check them out at lander.com. Lander is a creative platform for musicians. They have things like AI-powered music mastering, so you can get your songs and your beats broadcast ready for streaming services. They have distribution services, so you could distribute your music on all major music platforms, promotional services, as well as sample packs. So definitely go check them out. I spent some time going through the various preset banks and actually favorited some of the sounds that I really like. I feel like the bells and the plucks as well as the basses are really strong in this virtual instrument, and also the manipulation that you could do with those sounds. We're going to be creating some chord progressions as well as melodies using Lethal, and I'm going to incorporate this whole thing into my workflow. So as I mentioned before, it's going to be a Logic featuring Eminem type beat today, I guess. There's some awesome tools within Lethal that can get you that sound that you want. First things first, we need to come up with a chord progression that will sort of set the tone for the beat, and we'll go from there. As always, I sort of have a blank canvas here. I already picked out a few sounds, not many, but I like working in blank canvases because, it sort of lets my inspiration flow. Okay, so first things first, let's pick out a sound, and I'm going to go here to my user presets. As you see, I have some of these preset banks already downloaded, and I tried them out. I went through a lot of them, already favored some, so we're going to go through my favorites here, and let's just, see what it got here. That's a dope one. Sort of like that sound. Maybe we could work with that. Okay, let's go ahead and create a new MIDI region. And let's write this in D sharp natural minor. Okay, let's come up with a chord. And because I'm using the brush tool, I've shown this in other videos, I'm snapping to the scale basically, so I can't mess up. Maybe we could do that an octave lower. I just used Alt, Shift, and down for that. Highlight that, let's duplicate it, just holding Alt down and clicking and dragging it over. Maybe one more chord at the end here. Bring Lethal back up now and start messing with this sound. First things first, we could try a little bit of unison. Maybe some vibrato. Stereo expand. Let's widen that a little bit. Add the delay. add some shine to it. You also have the ability of using chord triggers, so you could change this up to 1 octave, 2 octaves, 3, fifths, sevenths, major, minor, major sevenths, minor major sevenths, and minor seventh. So, but we're not going to use that since I'm already, building a chord progression in the piano roll. But you could also change the type if it's being played backward or forward. That sounds crazy. Maybe I want to change the attack a little bit so that it's not as abrupt. Sort of eases itself into the sound. You can add some glide to that. Oof, that's hard. Start adding some rhythmic elements here. You can do a snare, maybe bring that volume up a little bit. Let's record that snare real quick. Something simple like that. Add another rhythmic element here. Let's add some hi-hats. Find a pitch that works. Gonna do this in eighth notes. Turn the scale quantize off because I don't need that for the hi-hats. That's fire. And just make my life a little easier by copying like so. Okay, maybe we could start, adding a little more lethal to this. Let's go to my user presets and my favorites again. Some xylo keys maybe? I don't know. Let's see. Just gonna play something on the keyboard, see what comes up. You also have an effects tab inside of Lethal, which is kind of dope, so you can change this, maybe add a delay to that. Change it from stereo to ping pong. Because I want to, layer this with multiple sounds from Lethal. I'm just going to name this here Lethal 2. You always got to make sure that, you're not overdoing things, basically. So add things that enhance, that main melody, but don't overthrow that main melody. So. Okay, let's see what else I got here. Maybe a pad we can add. Maybe a bell. Just little elements here and there. Lethal again. I want to definitely dive into those bass sounds that I found earlier. For the bass, I'm going to use that in probably the pre-chorus or the chorus. got goosebumps. It's great. Got this vocal chop here. Maybe we can incorporate that. Maybe we'll do it right at the beginning. It's hard. Maybe a bit of a delay there would help. So a regular tape delay would be fine. It's hard, bro. Fuck. Alright, maybe now we could start adding a kick here. Super hard. Now let's go ahead and maybe use an 808. We might need to add a little bit of distortion on that 808 to make it stand out more. I like using the distortion too. And we can try to just copy this pattern actually and make our life a little easier. Since that 808 is already in tune, just go ahead and copy that same bass pattern that I already came up with, and come back with that distortion. I definitely want to add a little bit more percussion to this. So maybe what we can do is actually bring up Lethal again and see what they have in terms of percussion. See what they have under cymbals. All right, they actually have a nice little bank going. That's a nice open hat that we can incorporate. That's all we really need there. Let's make sure it's quantized. Hard. Let's try various cymbals, various percussion. right sound, but gonna cut off a little bit of those mids from that bass. Maybe accentuate that 200 range. Maybe you could do a little bit of pan man on that. Just change the ping pong to a trigger like so, width a little bit less wide. I need to. Okay, and we need to bring up that tape delay just a little more because I wanted to the feedback to be a little longer. What I'm going to do now is duplicate my first initial one of Lethal, mute the first one, we'll name this Lethal 3, and I'm going to change the sound on this now, just so that I have, you know, for the arrangement of the beat, I have some variation. Let's try a different pluck. These are all the plucks from the X01 Hip Hop expansion pack. Oh, I like this one. Bring up the glide there, turn on vibrato. Maybe we can come over to here and put a phaser on it. Sounds crazy. Maybe we'll add a equalizer to that as well. Just want to tone it down a little bit by using that high cut. See what that sounds like. Oof, that's fire too. All right, now that I have all the elements of the beat that I want, I'm going to go ahead and start arranging it. Okay, so for this arrangement, we should work on our introduction first, on the intro. So what I like to do is do like a 2-bar, maybe a 4-bar intro. So I'm going to leave some space for myself. I'm going to introduce that initial sound, and we're going to manipulate the sound a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is bounce this in place. So I right click, bounce in place, and hit OK. Bring this over here now. Now we can go ahead and come to File. Let's go ahead and use our scissor tool, zoom in a little bit, and make some equal chops here. So I'm going to hold Command Alt down to get equal chops like so. Now we can come in here and actually reverse the individual parts. We can come in here and individually reverse these parts. I'm going to highlight all of these, bring in my fade tool, zoom in, do a little bit of a fade in the beginning, little bit of a fade in the end. Right click that end fade and make sure it says fade out. That's pretty dope. Now we can go ahead and bounce this into place one more time. And what I'm going to do now is do a little bit of halftime action using no plugins. I've shown this in other tutorials too, but definitely like doing this. Same concept. We're going to chop it. And then what we're going to do is select that track, turn on flex time, do speed effects. Now we're going to shorten them by half like so. Now we're going to come up here and drag those portions out. If you hear chopping noises like that, you could do that same thing that I showed you before. Just turn flex time off, select all of them, do a little chop in the beginning and the back. And now what I'll do is probably have the hook come in. So I'm going to kick the snare out. So I probably want this to be 8 bars in length. So I'm going to make sure that they're 8 bars just by looping it. Let's hear how that drops. So the verse comes in. And then second part of the verse, start reintroducing some of these instruments. Definitely need that percussion too. And then right before the hook comes back in, what I'm going to do is introduce that bass line one more time. And then we're going to go back into the hook. noticed that bass was overlapping a little bit with the 808, so I'm going to take a portion of that 808 out. Maybe now what I can do just to change things up is bring in that halftime thing that I created earlier and do something like this. You know, it's always nice to have a little bit of variation there. It's fucking hard, bro. Fire drop. Maybe one other thing that we can add is a few transition effects. I'm going to do that now. I feel like definitely need to sauce up that hi-hat a little more, so I'm going to use cjbeatz Effectrix on top of that hi-hat and see what we can come up with here. Choose a different preset for the X loop. All right, let's go ahead and add a pan man to that hi-hat now. Use that same technique I showed you earlier. Okay, I think this beat is pretty much done. Let's go ahead and have a listen to the finished product. Alright, that was super dope. I really appreciate Lander for letting me try out Lethal. Definitely something you guys should be adding to your arsenal, so I'll put links in the description for you guys to check it out. If you have any questions, comments, or whatever it might be, put those in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you're notified anytime I upload some new content. My name is CJ, and I'm out for now. Peace.